Okay, so who's ready for Romantasy that lied to your face about what it actually was? Because these 4 books, they're not Romantasy, they're horror novels. Here's the thing I love about Romantasy. Fourth Wing was literally the book that got me back into reading. You've heard me say this several times. But sometimes you pick up a book expecting enemies to lovers and fae and whatever, and instead you get something that makes you check the locks a little bit on your door. Fair warning, some of the books that I read are genuinely pretty dark, so I would advise reading some of the trigger warnings, and I'm not responsible for any sleep you may lose during this video. So the first book I read then was The Scholomance by R.L. Smith, not to be confused with the Naomi Novik novels of the same name. They're very different. I'm going to put up the book cover here. Oof, this is a bad cover. I heard something recently that R.L. Smith is going to be redoing the covers because her covers are terrible. So Reddit calls this book horror erotica with a happy ending, and honestly that's probably pretty accurate. So the setup for this book is that a girl's only friend has become a little bit obsessed with this demon school that she's heard of. The main character herself has got telepathy, and she herself wanted some magical powers. She disappears off out of this girl's life, and one day she gets a letter, says that she needs help. So her best friend goes to find her. This world is cutthroat. The students are in it for themselves. It is run by demons. It's in a random mountain, which is near impossible to find. The love interest is literally a demon who's been alive for a century and has done some things. And here's where it gets weird. The romance, I don't know. Some people say it's quite beautiful, but I don't know. I mean, it's dark. It's definitely dark. I don't even think they like each other most of the time. There's more body horror in this one due to like stuff. This is the book that actually triggered me thinking about Romantasy, but make it horror. And honestly, I kind of get it. It does hit you with that horror vibe, and it rewires something, and I'm kind of not sure what, but it does rewire a little bit of something. The second book I read was Weavingshaw, and that's not for everybody. The book came out in February 2026. It's a brand new book, and it has already been called the next classic of Gothic Romantasy. Grimdark magazine said it's a perfect melting pot of Gothic horror and Regency romance, and they're not wrong. So here's the setup. Lena, who is our main character, can see the dead. Her mother's gone, her father's in prison, and her little brother Rami is dying. She's desperate, so she makes a deal with the one person that everybody warns her to avoid, who is called the Saint of Silence. So he agrees to exchange the medicine to save her brother if she offers up the one thing of value that she has, which is her secret, the ability to see ghosts. Silas says, fantastic, now find me the ghost of Percival Avon. So on this cursed, decaying estate called as Weavingshaw, which is in the moors, in the fog, surrounded by things that you don't want to cross paths with, the Gothic atmosphere is next tier. So the fog on the moor, the decaying manor house, the ghosts, the secret berries in the walls, which is quite literal, and the slow burn between Lena and Silas is so tense. You could cut it with a knife. It's enemies to lover, but make it I don't trust you and you're probably going to ruin my life, but also I kind of can't stop thinking about you. It's over 460 pages and I did devour it. The pacing dips a little bit in the middle, I'm not going to lie to you, but I really thought the vibes of it were just immaculate. I loved it. If you liked my Wuthering Heights video, it's that, but darker and spicier, and the main character actually has a bit more of a personality. Book 3 was Anathema by Keri. This is one that has been on my TBR for ages, my electronic TBR for ages. It gets quoted by all the Gothic Romantasy girlies as the epitome of Gothic Romantasy. And we've just had Eldritch come out quite recently, which is the follow-up to it. I think there's supposed to be a third book, so it doesn't quite finish. I love this book. So the setup for this book, when I was telling my husband about it, I related it to Stardust. You know the film. Very similar in that like there's a normal mortal world and there's this magical, fantastical world, and it's divided by eerie wood. Can't remember what the main character's name is. So our female main character was found abandoned as a baby by the archway which goes into these woods. The world in which she lives in is very restrictive. She has a foster sister. Her father, her adoptive father, has literally just died. That is the trigger point for this. Her grandmother does not like either of the girls and is looking to sell them off into marriages as soon as possible. Her sister has been having an affair with her step uncle. That's not a good part of the book, but she actually gets pregnant through this affair. When her sister makes it known that this is the situation, they basically get cast into the forest as punishment, because that's what the punishment is in this town. Before this though, we do have a run-in with the main male character. He is coming from the magical realm. He is a king's assassin. There's like a prologue which goes a bit more into his character, but he's a king's assassin that comes in to try and take her out. It transpires that she's like the lost line of one of these magical birth lines that's not existed for a long time. And that it's needed in order to break the curse that the main male character has. So she gets taken back into this magical world and stuff happens. I was expecting, I don't know, probably a little bit more of like a dark, gothic, foggy, misty, spooky forest vibe. So I was a little bit disappointed, especially because of the book cover. The book cover really leans heavily into those vibes, and that wasn't there. Once it got going, it felt very traditional romantasy. I felt like it was lacking in that horror element. It didn't fill me with that sense of foreboding or dread. It was just a bog standard romantasy. So for me, it didn't really fit into this video once I read it. I did enjoy reading it, don't get me wrong, and I do want to read the follow-up, and I do want to finish the series, but when it's romantasy, make it horror, it didn't fit. Eldritch apparently though is a bit darker. Oh, don't forget to subscribe and stick the notify on if you like this. I like doing some like chaotic mashups. The last book I read, the book number 4 was Death Valley by Karina, Halle. Okay. So when I was looking for books that would fit into this genre, this got suggested to me and I saw zombie, horror, cowboy romance. Sign me up. That sounds amazing. It genuinely sounds made up. It's morally grey cowboys, it's zombies, it's romance, set in the mountains, and it's during a snowstorm. So we're just gonna let that one sink in for a little bit. That's literally the book. It's like someone took Yellowstone and added like the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. So the trigger point for this book is that Aubrey's sister, who's the female main character, she's disappeared in the Sierra Nevada mountains 3 years ago. Her life has technically fallen apart. She is an FBI agent. So she hires Jensen McCraw, who is a rancher, wilderness guide, morally grey cowboy with secrets of his own. And she hires him to help her find out what happens. But he knows what's exactly in these mountains, and he does try to warn her. But he needs someone with the money because his ranch is tangled up with this crime boss. Because of course it is. So they go anyway. And then a snowstorm hits. And members of the crew start disappearing, and the things that took them, they don't stay dead. This book has got a 4.06 on Goodreads with over 3,000 ratings, and the zombies in this aren't those slow zombies. They're fast, they're blue-eyed, they are creepy. They are really creepy. And the romance between Aubrey and Jensen is that intense, forced proximity, enemies to lovers, chaos, while people are literally fighting for their lives around them. So while I was reading this book, I was like, this reminds me of a film. It reminds me of a film from like the 90s with Robert Carlyle called Ravenous. That's because it's based upon the same true story. So not surprising. But if you enjoyed the vibes of Ravenous, but with cowboys, this book is very much for you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sorry. I'm really not sorry. So 4 books, 4 very different flavours of this is not the romantasy that I ordered. Death Valley probably was my favourite one out of the lot. It's the one that you'll finish at 2 AM and laugh about the cowboy zombie chaos and probably sleep fine, mostly. Anathema, if you like romantasy, you'll love it. The Scholomance, It's a rough one. It's a rough one. There's a market for this. I just don't know who that person is. And Weavingshaw, if you want more gothic romantasy, Wuthering Heights type book, then that's definitely for you. If you've got anything else that you think belongs on this list, put them down in the comments. I clearly don't value any sleep schedule, so go right ahead and don't forget to subscribe and stick on the notify. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all again next week.